Now we have a demo because Soteris is here. So last week we talked about custom settings. We saw the demo, that was great, and Lombiq made public video out of it. That's good. I assume Gabor did that. Zoltan demoed the helpful extension code generation. We presented Cloudsmith, and I had a surprise in my email this week or last week. Many surprises. They are just asking me to go back to the non-free subscription because they say, "Oh, your 7 days trial is done. Now you should pay for it." So I haven't answered yet. I want to see when they will stop the account, if they will, or it's just like automated emails and people getting notification that they have to, because we are supposed to get it for free because it's open source. And Zoltan made the correct paperwork to do that. So we'll see. I checked this. Well, yesterday I pushed something explicitly to be sure that it was still working because we had not pushed anything for 3 days and it's working. So yeah, finger crossed.
Maybe it's just your user. I also received this kind of notification, but not the organization or shortcode.
Because we created an account, that's okay. But I don't have any feed, so.
Yeah, neither do I.
Okay, I will assume that the registration is per feed, but okay, we'll see. But I assume they won't close it. At least they will warn us, hey, tomorrow we'll close it, and that's an email. We saw new websites, talked about shipping on schedule. We talked about these new options for subscriptions for sponsorship on GitHub. And today, 6/2/2020, topics, demos. We have Soteris that will show us the new taxonomy localization option. If you want to talk about how to show that, at least.
Yes, yes. Well, I can show, okay, but it's not ready.
That's okay.
After the comments, yes.
The design and why you went with this solution and what you're supposed to do and what would be better to have, just to see the progress. That's good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Sergio is watching the videos, so at least for him to see what's happening on that, I'm sure he cares. So we have that. Do we have any other demos? Dean, how many do you have today?
Just the one.
Just one. Do we have something else? So main topic should be RC2. Changes. Is there anything we really should consider getting? I'm not to get anything, but little oddities that are super risk-free or will like default blog experience. That, what else? Topics, did I miss anything? Stripe, sure. Demo, Stripe, what's your name already? I'm sure there is guest somewhere.
Yeah, William Best.
William Best, not guest. Why? William. Stripe. What else? Okay, that's good. Okay, so status update on Orchard. First, there were some PRs that got merged. Oh, no, we approved them, but apparently Matteo didn't merge them. I should have been more explicit about that. Now he has merge access. So yeah, okay. So there are 2 PRs that will be merged, perf optimizations and one more option in the projection, I think. Orchard call. Well, Matteo maybe is watching the video and will know that it can merge. or we'll do that for him on Thursday. So last week was 5:26. Here we have in the morning. Is it in the morning? I'm not sure. Yes, we saw that. Update configuration templates. What time? What does it mean? I don't know. So update code generation templates. We saw that. Safe mode theme. I think we saw that. Yes. Just want not be confused with some other changes we talked about. MimeKit, I checked that and it's correct. So it's just, well, when I did this reference, I was like, we already need MailKit reference from another module. MailKit depends on MimeKit. So I was like, let's just reference MailKit because we already have the dependency there and another module depends on that. So Antoine here made it more explicit by just referencing the one we need and adding the version there. Okay. The end result is the same, unless one day we decide to update MailKit, and then we might have an issue because we will have to think about updating MimeKit 2 version. Otherwise, there might be a conflict or warning with versions. But that works. Themes, that works in case someone just uses what module? Infrastructure, which won't be the case. Okay, well, that's okay. Which might be the case, so that's better. Themes, title, default theme, screenshot, and tags. So that was on a Wednesday, and we met on the Thursday. So I want to see what I missed. Tags, okay, tags, okay. Tags, okay, name, new name. Tags, metadata, and this one, what is it about? What is that? Use admin index.
Because it was on the yellow, with the yellow background, and I just changed to use the good render title segments and the default title themes.
It's better. Admin controller. Admin tag. Okay. And new theme picture. Okay, this is a new picture. This was before. How can I see?
It was blank. There was no PNG for the theme.
What is audience screen? Wow, but I want to see it big. Ah, better. So let's play with the onion skin. This is a new one. This is the old one. Super. There was nothing. Okay, it's stupid. That's a new one. Default theme, home. Okay. Fixes FileSystemStore issue. Because there was an issue, we explained the bug. Get physical path. Okay. New contributor. Best okay. Coupled my store. Preview package source. 2 docs. Oh yeah, updating. We had during meeting. I used the term preview everywhere instead of dev, which is a dev branch. So preview package source, and then you also change the title of the menu and the file name. I don't want to go to that extent myself. I'm like, but this one made sense. We talked about it during the meeting. And you added something here. And you also call preview feed with NuGet config. Also called preview. Okay. 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 Teaching on. Good. Render nested bags in summary. Because when you have a bag in a bag, it will not show up. Something like this. Change content API permissions. There was an issue, so that the idea is that we implemented some feature, some security permissions that if you can't view a content item from the UI, no, you need a custom permission to be able to see all the fields of a content item, because maybe there are some data in a content item that is private, you don't want people to know, so you don't display it in your UI, in your templates. But if you have access to the API without any permission, then you can access anything from the content item. So now the API is also checking the permission that you can. There is an access content API, so there is a custom permission for the APIs now. And we still check the view content. But this generic API lets you prevent from accessing the content API. And it's also protecting all the other endpoints from this API. Okay, new permission, access content API, not just get API content. But yes, we created this API. I remember it was from someone from Lombiq, maybe Zoltan, that said we need a permission to be able to access the content. Otherwise, we can't prevent people from seeing secrets in the content items. The coming soon script. The I and the O are closed on the keyboard, even on the French keyboard, so that explains. Okay. Okay, so that was after the meeting. So that's the only change you did was to add this.
They were in the wrong order. It was appearing before jQuery.
Okay, that's a different issue. I see. And now it's a script, a source, so that the dependency will be respected. Okay. Change to image tag. Yeah, last minute change for RC2, which is the new. There was a new media tag that we decided to do and didn't implemented it. But then, by looking at what WordPress was doing for their shortcodes, media seemed very generic when we actually render an image tag. So we decided to call it instead image shortcode to render an image, because maybe tomorrow your media might be an audio file, a video, or whatever. So why call it media? It can be anything. So there is an image tag, and later maybe you can add other shortcodes that will be used to render different tags, okay, or figure or image set or whatever, and you can pass multiple arguments. The only one we provide out of the box is image, because that's what we want to do for WYSIWYG editors, to be able to insert an image. Well, that's the only thing we provide. You can only insert an image. You can't insert anything else, like a link to a media. Then you will have to use something else. Did we say should we have, I don't know. What did we say about being able to inject just?
So we did say that we'd need to probably at least generate a link tag as well, or possibly just a URL, because we need the URL generated so that it has the right paths for tenants and what have you. So that is a feature to come, and hopefully you'll show shortcodes today as well. Just a little bit.
Yeah, so Isham created the PR. And when I saw the PR, I'm like, it can be super good, can go super wrong. It's good, but it's not right. So let's see if we can. And I know what it is because when you see implementation, it's so obvious. Theory will smile, I'm sure. We'll see what's in the PR. It's not bad at all. It's just the context is interesting. We'll see. Shortcut. So this is for those who were not there during discussions of this change, this is a shortcode. We decided to use that instead of Liquid just to inject custom pieces of HTML. And we are just doing what WordPress is doing. In order one, they were called VB code. Shortcode is an extension of VB code. It can have parameters. Prevent array duplication when merging existing content. That was worrisome, but I saw that it was just for API, so that I was fine with that. Apparently. So when you do JSON.NET merge option and there is an array, it will just merge the arrays. And in this case, this isn't what you want. You want an array to be replaced, like an array of tags might want to merge, but they're not even merged, they are just added. So here on the post operation of the API, it will just replace the value. I even wondered if we should just not take whatever is set for the post as is and use a patch option if we want to do an actual merge.
I actually thought we probably needed to implement the array handling by default in this merge method and allow you to override it. So I might do another PR for that. I just needed to fix this one quickly because I created a few blog posts the other day and ended up with 20 tags.
Okay, but when you say option, I will say use a different verb on the API. The post should take what it is. We have post, put, and patch. So, and I think that's also one issue. The patch should be the one that merges stuff and doesn't lose the previous value, or maybe the put. And the post should just take whatever we pass as the document in the API. My 2 cents on this one. Okay. Confirmation email subject in edit register user task. Workflow?
Yes, an activity to register user used in the coming soon theme. And I created a few months ago before a change that MimeKit did to add this confirmation email. So it was null in my tenant, and MimeKit forgot to add it in the edit page.
Okay. Oh yeah, I want to write. Allow classes by default with the HTML sanitizer. I merged it this morning. It was good. We saw that last week, and at least during triage, to see what needed to be changed on this API change, and this is good. So now we accept classes. We are not removing classes when you add them in your tags in any WYSIWYG editor, because we decided that in this context, classes are safe. Okay. And I merged this one this morning. I did branding assets to docs, new, old, but orchard logos added to the repository, to the docs. If people want to download them, they can take taken over from the Ocean1 repository. All good. Questions about all these changes? Okay. Topics. First, I want to talk about topics first because topics matter. RC2, any other topic that will be after demos? Did I miss anything? No. RC2, last minute changes. So what do we have? Milestones, RC2. I assume I tagged them or they've been tagged after I checked this morning. So there was nothing this morning after the matches, meaning these 3 ones, they will be like what features we want, just closing this one. This was a discussion about what we want in RC2 could even be closed now. We need to validate. So RC2 validation is just a list of what we need to do to ship. Okay, so it will close automatically. And this one was an issue with RC1 that has been fixed in NuGet, so we should not have it anymore once we publish a new version. This one, blog post recipe doesn't have images in media. That's part of the default blog experience that I want to talk about. So it was not on trial short project, apparently just on my machine and apparently on others' machine. When you create a new blog post with the blog recipe, and it requires many things. It requires tags, it requires categories, and it requires a background blog post, a header blog post header to define. So you have to do 3 things to be able to write a blog post. Even a dummy blog post like hello world and this is some text. No, you have to pick up a media, you have to pick up some tags, you have to pick up some categories. There is only 1 tag, there's only 2 categories, but you have to pick one. So the first thing I'd like to change before we ship, and it's not risky at all, is just change the metadata of the default recipe to say, we don't want to require tags, we don't want to require categories, and we don't want to require a background header custom image for the media. And it won't break anything because we already support the fact that there is nothing selected to be tested, though, but we are supposed to. And at least we can create a blog post with no many other categories and no custom header. That will help people test the blog. Because when last time I demoed the blog post edition, I had to select these 3 items and it was just noise in the demonstration. Then the issue that is tagged here is that on my machine, and apparently on Dean's machine too, maybe sometimes, when I click on add media for the header of the blog post, I don't see any media. But we are apparently uploading some media with the recipe, but they are not there. I can't see them. So there might be a bug there. There is a bug there.
Do you experience that issue as well?
Me?
Yeah. Did you have that as well, where there's no media after the first setup?
That's why I created the issue.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's a Vue.js. Yeah. We'll talk.
What didn't I say that? Blog post doesn't have images in media? Or maybe
well,
I just
we weren't sure from what Antoine said as to whether or not that was on Try Orchard, and there was an earlier version that didn't have any media. But cool. So it's not just me that gets that occasionally.
Occasionally. Interesting.
I think there's a Vue.js event that's not getting fired correctly sometimes.
Ooh. Net correct 2.1, or do I have another version? Yes. Should. .cms.web.pl. That was a great experience. That was a great experience. At least. Maybe I should check the logs. Interesting. Okay, doesn't work for me. Maybe I had an old site that is wrong. I don't know. Okay, I'll try again, but
yeah, you have an old database floating around somewhere.
that's weird because, or maybe oh yeah, incomplete one. Oh, I was waiting for something. Let's try. Interesting. I don't like the tab experience. Yeah, let's start with that. I have a blog and it has tags and categories. What's what? Tags, oh, this is a category and this is a tag. Oh, I see, because the icon is different. Okay, and then I go to admin. Also a good test because we say we need to test, so I tested. So content new. No, I will go to the blog and I will say create blog post. And here I say hello. And I have to go at the bottom to say something. I also suggested maybe we should put it just at the top and the optional properties at the bottom. And then I was like, okay, I want to publish my post. No, you need to set a tag. Okay, well, let's take a tag. I have to type escape and category. There is only one, but I have to type a category. And then I have to provide a banner. So I will say plus, and I have no media. And you said that if I create a folder, then yeah, okay, they are not in a folder. Okay, that is a bug. They are not in a folder, but the fact I create a folder, it updates it, and then I can select it. That's a bug. That's bad. And I can select multiple. What's happening here?
Yeah, you can select multiples, even if the field doesn't take multiples. I've seen that before as well. That's good to see a repo on that first issue, though. Confirm something, I thought.
This behavior looks new to me. It used to work like, okay, or maybe I never tried to click somewhere else. Okay. Why is it beautiful? So I want this one. Okay, and I will publish. And as a preview, so I go to blog, and then I can click on view, and I have the background and the tags and the text. Beautiful. Okay, so that's the feedback. So yes, reprod. The file that we can select multiple. Okay, fine, we can live with it. Yes. So I put that on RC2. What else? Coming soon from issue. I tag it for RC2 because I don't understand. I don't understand. Oh, yes. So what's the bug?
Made a change with a form wrapper. So it was duplicated because it is also inside the liquid content underscore coming soon template.
If I look at the changes, the form has been added. So the issue is that this form should not be there.
No, because it is in the form wrapper.
Okay, and it used, and there was no form wrapper before, that's it?
Yes.
Okay, so now it's not necessary anymore, and the form wrapper also has the empty forgery token.
Mm-hmm. But if you put the form around masthead, the display were not correct, so he added the style, the inline style.
Very good. Can we have it in the CSS instead?
Please.
Because putting some style in liquid, okay. Just putting that in the CSS will then be fine. Or even if we have to add a CSS, but we don't need it, will be in the layout. We can add the CSS in the layout if we don't have a custom one.
There is a bootstrap OC file that can go on, isn't there, Antoine?
Sorry, what?
There's a bootstrap-OC CSS file for those themes, I think, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, it should go in there.
And anyone can change the thing, and I will if nobody does it. Yeah? So we don't wait for Niraj if he doesn't have time to do that. Okay, so this one will be easy then. This one, the blog post will be maybe harder. We have to see what's happening, but I can repro consistently, so that should be easy to find the issue. And that's good. Translations, we did some work. Last week to add the missing strings for the setup at least, and that should be good also. I just wanted Nisham to try to do an update on the PR he made to be able to just include some specific translations, some cultures, and not everything, because lots of them don't have any strings, so that's sad to see them in the setup screen when there is nothing. Other than that, translations are ready, and that's it. So we have two things here typed .2, and I have a last thing we could maybe try to take because there's been two people. Okay, three now. This one, yes, now it's 4 minutes ago, so it's been 3 now. So where is the one I saw today from last night? Someone filed the same issue about encoding and workflow email.
I think that other one might have been on Gitter. Yeah, it was yeah, it's a little old.
So, but the issue is the same as this one. When making form to send an email using workflow. Okay, so it's been the third person complaining about that, and well, this is not maybe the issue. I think it is.
Yeah, no, that's the same one because it gets JavaScript encoded by default.
Yeah,
so that's JavaScript encoding of. Yeah.
When we rework the default encoders for everything in Orchard, I defined for workflow the default encoder to be JSON, to be JavaScript encoder, such that because in workflows we use JSON documents only, templated JSON documents, they will be saved by default. But the issue is that I didn't see any using something else, but there were, and I didn't find it. So the email task doesn't accept JSON. It can render liquid templates for HTML body, okay? And I'm sure there are other strings that are not just n equal values, but could be HTML or not just JSON or JavaScript. And so this is wrong in this case because the issue is that if you type an email like hello and what is an issue? Yeah, let's say some.
Put an accent in, or any diacritic.
Yeah, but I don't have a keyboard with that. But let's say it's a weird char, a Greek char, okay? Let's say you are Greek. Why would you be Greek? But let's say you have a Greek char, okay? Omega here, the big omega. So this, because you type an email like this, it will be actually stored. It will be stored like a JSON document, like body.
I just sent you the issue, which has actually got the example on it.
Oh, thank you.
If you want.
Thank you. So this one, and then in the JSON, it will be stored like this. Okay, this is what I was. The input data has country, Belgium. Input data, liquid is used to construct the body of the email. The input data has country. Interesting. So the body of the email has something like this. Okay, this is not really done, but the body itself will then be, this thing will then be encoded into a JSON string, but this will be parsed by liquid and encoded. So this will be JSON encoded, so that such that the string inside a JSON document is encoded, and then when it's outputted, it will be this way. And the idea is that it should not be JSON encoded or JavaScript encoded. It should be HTML encoded because we are entering some HTML. We are entering some HTML, and then when it's assigned to a JSON, yeah, no, we are not generating a JSON document. We're generating an HTML blob, which will be stored as a string. So it should not be encoded by HTML or maybe by anything. It depends. Well, the idea is that each task should be responsible to define the default encoder and to render using the default encoder. So in this case, the email task should say the text I accept should be HTML encoded. Any value, if you type anything like this thing should be HTML encoded because it's an email. But if we are using it to generate a JSON document, then it should be JavaScript encoded. So we need to let each task decide what is the default encoder, or what is the encoder for the liquid evaluation. And today it's hard-coded. When we evaluate an expression, it's hard-coded. So we need to make it a parameter. And I think we should have it for RC2. It's not a hard change, just adding an argument when we try to evaluate a liquid template. Because it's just a workflow API, it has something called evaluate expression. But it doesn't have something called evaluate expression and an argument, which is what default encoder. And we have a custom method because we need to provide a custom context to the liquid template, to provide custom properties like the workflow context, the properties of the workflows, things like this. So that's why there is an evaluate expression method. So we just need to add an argument that we can set another encoder, and then it will just pass it to liquid because liquid has that. It can pass for every evaluation which encoder you want to use. So that should be super simple, and that. And I raised this issue because it's sending emails. I mean, most workflows will send emails, and it's been the second issue this week, and this one was during last month. And actually, I closed it because I thought it was just about, oh, just HTML encode and use raw. No, you can't do that. So reopened it.
Yeah, that should be a pretty simple fix if I have some time over the next couple of days.
What will we do without Dean? Well, we will do less things. Okay, so that's the two things. Is there anything else that I didn't think of and you think is worth pushing for RC2?
I would probably take Jean-Thierry's work on the content tasks.
I saw you ping me about that.
Because it's a bit buggy at the moment, and this fixes because it was the task was a new feature that came in maybe a month or two ago, and it's not. Yeah, I think we'd take it.
I see no link.
Let me find a link.
Thank you. Found it.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Sorry. Yeah, but this PR is humongous.
It's up to you. I reviewed it and was pretty happy with it. He was going to do a couple more things. The short version of it is it just the workflows now need to know a little bit of context as to where they're coming from, whether it's coming from a driver or whether it's coming from API method or another workflow method.
That's wrong. That sounds wrong. My concern is that we are patching an issue instead of finding the root cause of the issue. That's my only fear.
Yeah, and that's possible because we introduced a content updating task, which, yeah.
Either that or we are using workflows in a way that should not be used. So here, press the new button, save, publish. User task. I want a demo for that. The user task. We haven't had a demo of that for a long time. And actually, the user task should be customized. The verb here should be part of the task. What verb do you want to provide to the user? What action? Yeah, and this looks like an orthogonal change to the issue. That's when I see the inline stuff here. A workflow activity acting as an inline handler may have added some model state errors. Not just workflow in this case, any handler. Okay. That is not wrong. My concern is that we have to test the inline whatever. Inline event. This seems wrong. And I think I talked about it with him.
I mean, I guess one of the problems exists because a content handler, as something is being published or an updated event, may trigger a workflow. But at that point, the handler context is lost. So the workflow, if it actually does something in relation to that updated event, updating the content even further or model state errors, etc., needs to be able to get back the data to whatever's going on, whatever invoked it.
Look, the create content task can't create a content item as it is executed inline from the starting content creating event of the same content type. So when I see this error, what do I do? Can't create the content inline from the starting content creating event. Content created event. So content created event. Okay, so I have a content created event on the type, and I want to create another thing. Maybe that's the issue. And
yeah, so you're going to end up in a loop then, aren't you, if you keep making the same thing?
That's a valid exception. And in this case, I understand that issue. Like, okay, you don't want to do that. Okay. Could be also a flag that says, we already entered this workflow, we don't want to do that. But maybe that's another one, and I don't know. Okay, so that. Inline event, I see, like we are currently, okay. Okay, I need to check that. I need to check that. Okay, you say I will link to the issue. You think we should have that for RC2?
If it's ready and if you agree with it, it does fix a number of issues in that area.
Let's see what. Okay. Okay. We'll check offline. Demos. What is your demo about, Dean? I want to select. I want to choose.
JSON schemas for API controllers, and it's quite weird. It's quite big, so it could wait till next week if there's other demos. But yeah, automatic generated JSON schemas for content types.
So I will just go with Soteris then, because the first I mentioned. And then we can do the rest next week. Nothing here for RC2. So Soteris, you want to show us what you've done and why?
Yes, okay.
We made a PR. But we also discussed it on Thursday during a triage.
Yeah. So the PR was not so good apparently, but it was very useful for me to check things, aspects that I didn't know. So the idea of this PR, let me share my screen. It's to provide a localized version of taxonomies for its content. So Dean has made, I think Dean has made a lot of work on localizing taxonomies. So if I go here, I have categories, which is a taxonomy, and categories Greek, the Greek one. And each of them has some terms, English term, and the Greek taxonomy has the Greek terms. Unfortunately, as for now, we cannot have a way to connect terms between different languages. But one problem that we had is that when we are going to content item that has taxonomies, let's say blog post, in the editor, we had to choose one taxonomy. So we have categories or categories Greek or tags. So as for now, we had to choose two fields, one for categories and one for the localized version of Greek. And the editor will edit showing up two categories. What I have done or tried to do is that I added this option here, localized, and the editor, when someone wants to create a new blog post, will only show the same culture terms. So if I go here, no, here, and I have this blog post that is English version, click edit. If the taxonomy is localized, you see the English terms, the English taxonomy. The tags are not localized, so it's always there. And if we go to the Greek version, then you can see with the same title, the Greek terms, and the tags will remain as it was, nothing is changed. And this will work in the front end. So we have the English blog post here with the taxonomy, the travel taxonomy that is selected, and the Greek version, which has the Greek term selected. And it works like this. So some questions appeared in the PR I have made. One question was, Dean asked, if we want to, let's go back to definition. What is it? Let's go to type. Dean asked me if we want this localized checkbox when we have localized taxonomies. And I think that in case of tags or in different cases, we maybe not want to show localized version, but we need to show the selected taxonomy terms. Just for completeness, the PR is this one. I will share it in the chat. And okay, here. And the issue, the initial issue that we had to solve, it's this one. I will share it to the chat just to have it. And the localized version is done, but we need some way to sync terms of localized taxonomies and extend the culture picker to support term aliases. So there is work to be done here in order this feature to be fully functional. But
what does it mean? Add alias to sync terms of localized taxonomies.
So what does it mean? If I go here, content items, this English term A should be connected somehow.
It's not syncing, it's linking.
It's linking, okay, with Greek term A. So yes, it's linking, yeah.
Because we talked about it and I'm like, what is, I missed something. Okay, so it's creating a relationship, linking the terms between languages so that one matches the other. And to do that, we said we might want to add an alias on the terms such that a custom action that you will create could find which one is the other. So that's yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea. So if you are in the site in one specific term and you want to change the content, instead of going back to the homepage of the other language, to go to exactly same term of on
and at the same
site.
time we couldn't, and it's good you mentioned that because I wanted to ask a question during the meeting in case someone has an example, but we could not find, I think we couldn't find any example of an actual case where we would want to be able to do that. What I mean is that, let's say you're on a blog post, an English blog post, and it has categories like travel, okay, and it has a category travel, or you list all the blog posts of the category travel, so you only get English blog posts. When you're on this page listing all the blog posts of the category travel, is there a use case where I would like to be able to go directly from this page to the travel equivalent in Greek? And I'm like, like I visited a site and I went to the blog post and then I clicked on the travel category and I see all the blog posts for travel. It happens there is also Greek blog post, and maybe they're also categorized for travel, but in Greek.
Yeah.
So
I thought of a case actually, because imagine that we have an event, so a site with events, and using its language, it's a taxonomy. When you select different languages, you see different events. Make sense or?
Okay, so so you mean that the term is a content item that is more than just a category, a tag, or whatever? It's a content item, and then you want to be able to switch to the one that matches in a different language. That okay? In this case, it's not about tagging, but it's like we organize content item in a tree, and in this case, it makes sense to switch from one content item to the other because they are not just a tag; they are the item you want to see. I see.
Maybe I don't know. It's valid, but yeah, because we have discussed about it and.
Okay, and in this case, using an alias, we will be able to assign the same alias to the two of them, and then create a link when we display one of the items to be able to resolve with on the server side with a custom controller to be able to resolve what is the equivalent of this one in the other language, and it will find it.
Yeah, it will be a soft link, but it will be a link.
Okay. Yeah.
I think maybe the idea was to take the normal part of the alias and put a dash and then the culture on the end of it, so it would be a very soft link.
Well,
or something similar to that.
I would just say it's a string and it needs a database query to say what's in the content item index and in the alias index and in whatever term index to find the matching one. I would just say that. I want to try to create a direct link. Just they are in a group, like they are in the same localization set and they have the same term alias, so they are the same thing in different languages. That's it.
Yeah, but we can't have multiple. We can't have aliases have to be unique. So they
and term alias, they are not aliases. They are term aliases.
There's the term. Yeah, that could work.
Because it's like a custom feature. Like we have to check. Yeah, term alias or maybe a custom index table just for terms. we already have, that's why I asked last time, do we already index the terms? So, and we said yes. So maybe we can have another field on the terms that is logical identifier in case we want to, aka alias, in case we want to logically link different terms in different categories, different, taxonomy. Okay, and the third point in your issue was?
The third point, I think that it was the culture picker to support this one.
Support term aliases. What does it mean? So culture picker. Oh yeah, so that's related to the second bullet point, to be able to have a way to switch easily from. Yeah, yeah. So that's why I asked for the second point, meaning do we want to support it in the content model directly? Probably that would make sense. Do we want then to provide the ways to switch automatically from one to the other so that the website developer doesn't have to do anything, just use a component? Maybe. Should culture picker know about taxonomies? I'm not sure. Then should we make a service to say, yeah, culture picker? Because maybe we can just have a different culture picker called the switch term culture picker or something like that. Because there might be some differences. They are not just like any other content item. They are inside a hierarchy.
Yeah, we looked at this when we were doing the bag term routing and decided probably not, because it was quite hard and really hard to make the links. But if we are able to make the links, then maybe it become possible or easier.
Another option is to be able to, and we talked about it last week, is to be able to, with the tools we already have today, let's see if we can change the term type to add the data we want to add on it, to be able to link different terms. So we don't have any coding to add, just explain how to model that. And also explain how to build a controller to query that data. So in the end, if we could have an article or a guide, some documentation to explain to whoever wants to do that, how to do that. And then they will be able to do it. And then we wouldn't have to maintain it inside the core repository, because it's an edge case of using localized taxonomies. Probably most people won't need that, even the ones relying a lot on taxonomies and localization. So maybe just explain how to write that, how to code it, instead of providing a generic solution that can work in every case, and then it's a never-ending story. So sometimes it's just, see, so
yeah,
I'm sure
makes sense.
If I told you how to do that and how to write the content and everything, and you don't have to think about it, you'll be like, yeah, good, that works for me. I don't care. You don't need to have a single button checkbox that will do everything for you, because it never works. At this level of specificity, UI doesn't work. You have to understand what you're doing and to adapt the solution to your needs. And that's why providing a documented solution, even with code and model definitions and everything to show what to change in the UI, that will be sufficient, I think.
Yeah, makes sense. I think that yeah, it's I totally agree that it's a case that it's not an everyday case. So
and the localized options make sense, because you can't do that without changing the driver code, and that's easy to manage, and that provides most of what people will need. Okay, you have different taxonomies. You have taxonomy that can be localized. And then when you have a content item using this taxonomy, it can pick the correct one from the correct language of the current content item. So I assume that solves most of use cases with taxonomy localization. Linking terms across languages, that's an advanced thing. And if we can do it without changing the core code, then I'd rather have an article for that than trying to do that in the core code. For now, at least. So yeah. Good. Like it. Okay, I will put some comments on the PR with the names I don't like personally, and we'll see how it goes. I like it. Thank you. And it looks simple and it works. Beautiful.
Yeah, I try to be, less to make less impact that. In order to be, yeah. Thanks.
Cheers. And I will also link to the notes here. So we'll get the other demos next week because we are over already. William, fine with that? You are here every week, so that's fine.
That's fine, yeah. Bummer we couldn't do it today.
Too late. Okay, other questions, topics? Good. Then see you everyone on Thursday. Hopefully with all the remaining issues for RC2 solved and merged. And otherwise next Tuesday. Thanks everyone, bye-bye.